I'm making the Wendybird pattern, and with this pattern the skirt has this panel that's brown here, gathered or pleated. So I need to gather just the brown panel. I have my sewing machine set up for a straight stitch, and the stitch length is as long as it will go. This pattern has a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so I'm going to make sure that I sew my basting stitches within the 1/2 inch seam allowance. That way I don't have to remove them later. I'll do the first one about 1/4 inch or less from the raw edge. And I have my thread tails pretty long over here, so I have something to hold on to while I'm gathering. When you pull it off, make sure you leave the thread tails long again. And then sew another row right next to that first row. Leave the tails long. And then to do the gather, you go to the wrong side and get both of the bobbin threads and pull on them, and then it pulls it in. After I have it to the width that I need it to, I just tie the front and the back threads together on both ends. I have the gathers pulled in so that the front skirt is the same width as the back skirt, and I went ahead and tied the front threads to the back threads so that this doesn't loosen up. You can see at the very top the gathers look really pretty, but then once you get down here to about 1/2 inch down where we're actually going to sew, they don't look quite as good. So I'm going to take this over to the iron and press it while pulling it down to try and make those gathers look really nice just below the stitches also. I just finished pressing it, and I like the way this looks much better. Another option would be to sew your basting stitches so that one is just below the 1/2 inch seam allowance and one is just above. That way when you sew it together, your stitches are right between and you have that really nice pretty gather at the top. I'm sewing the skirt to the bodice now. I like to start with the gathers on the bottom. That way the feed dogs will help feed them through so they come through more evenly. I've already started on this, and I'm just about to the gathers. As I get up to the gathers, I'll stop and explain what I'm going to do. Okay, rather than just to keep sewing over it, if you flip it up you can see how it's kind of spread out a little bit. You want to try to arrange it underneath. That way it goes through the same way that we had it pressed. Here's our gathers. And then if you did your basting stitch down a little bit lower, you'll just go ahead and seam rip that out.